If you like my videos and you want such more videos, then do like, share and consider subscribing. For the notification, do not forget to tap the notification icon. Thank you. Good morning students. Welcome to today's class. In our previous classes, we have discussed about the sexual reproduction in human beings, and we have also discussed that how fertilization process take place and how fertilization process is different in different animals. Means there is internal fertilization and external fertilization. We have also discussed that different animals have a different ways to give birth to the offsprings. While discussing all these topics, we have also seen that mammals, means one type of animals, give birth to the young ones. But there are some exception cases also, and that is the homework which I given in your last class, where you have to find those mammals which don't give birth to the young ones. Instead, they lay eggs. I hope you people have done that homework. Yes, the example of this is echidna and platypus. These are the two mammals which instead of giving birth to the young ones like the other mammals, they lay eggs. They are mammals but they lay eggs. So now what we are going to discuss next? Well, different animals have different way of transformation, means development. The way they develop from the zygote to embryo and further, different animals show different kind of development. So today I am going to discuss about a very special phenomenon, a very different phenomenon which is exhibited by many type of animals, and that is quite different from the development that we have seen till now. So today's topic is metamorphosis. What is metamorphosis and what kind of animals show metamorphosis? Let's discuss about that. Metamorphosis. So first let me write down this term on the blackboard to initiate this topic. Metamorphosis. Now what this means? This term is made up of Greek words meta and morph. So what it means? Meta means after and morph means form. Means what is the transformation that is being seen once the organism starts developing. So what is this process all about? Well, this process is seen in many type of animals. The most common examples are frogs and insects. Well, these are the two types of animals which you may have seen all around your houses. Means butterfly, means housefly, mosquitoes and frogs. These are very common all around us. So have you ever seen how they undergo the development process, how the body goes through different kind of changes before becoming into an adult? If you have never seen or you have never observed, try to observe from here on and you will see that what I'm actually talking about, that how the metamorphosis process is going on. So we are going to discuss about metamorphosis process which is seen in frogs and insects, but they are not the only animals which shows this process. There are a lot more animals. Let me give you some examples. Frogs belong to the amphibian group. So amphibians show this process. Well, you will see the similar process in snails. The group of animals in which snail belongs to, that is molluscans, they also show a metamorphosis process. Not only these, the starfish. If you remember, if you have seen, if you have observed somewhere in books about starfish or in movies or in cartoons, you may have seen starfish. Starfish belongs to a group called echinodermata. Echinoderms also exhibit the metamorphosis process. So first write this, that what the origin of this term metamorph and what are the common animals which shows this process. Well, as I mentioned these two, then I'm going to write echinoderms also. Echinoderms which shows this process. Molluscans also show this process. So the different type of animals show the process of metamorphosis. So let's understand what is metamorphosis and how the changes are different from the other animals. So first let's understand the definition of metamorphosis. We have already seen the origin of the term. So what is actually metamorphosis? Metamorphosis is the biological process in which an organism goes through drastic changes to become an adult. Means normally if you see the development in human beings, now that is a very common thing, I think, or I'm sure that everyone has observed that. So let's take the example of human beings. Let's take the example of you. If you compare your photographs from the time like when you were a kid, when you were an infant, or when you were a toddler, when you were a child, when you were before your teenage, and even in your teenage, right now you people are in your teenage. So if you have the photograph from your last 10 to 12 years of your life, then you compare those photographs, you will see that there are not many changes inside you. Means definitely your height will grow up, definitely there will be change in the body shape, but your face is similar. The development is predictable. Means you know that the child is looking like this and this will grow into this. There is no unpredictable change into your body in this course of development. But this is not in the case of frog, insects and other animals which we have talked under the topic metamorphosis. They have a drastic change. Drastic means quite different, very unfamiliar, which is not predictable. Those changes can be seen in case of this phenomenon, that is metamorphosis. So this is a phenomenon in which a body goes through drastic, means different unpredictable changes in their body and before becoming an adult. So as we have discussed about the definition of metamorphosis, and we have seen the examples that how the different animals which are amphibians, which are the starfish, which are like insects show metamorphosis. Let's first understand what is metamorphosis process and how this process undergoes. Well, I'm going to take two examples here, like an example of a frog and an example of insects, because these are very two common animals which we see all around us. So the observation of these animals are very easy and common. Observation related to the development of these animals is quite common and easy to carry. So let's understand the metamorphosis process by taking two examples. Well, I'm going to first start with the insects. If you remember in your class 7th, when you were studying about the fabrics, you may have studied about the life cycle of a silkworm. Silkworm is also an insect. So how the process undergoes? This process is very similar, just the different insects shows a little bit different changes in their body, but the process is same, the stages are same. So I'm going to start first with the life cycle of a insect. Life cycle has different stages. So we are going to study about these stages, and we are going to see that how the different stages show different kind of development before becoming into an adult. So first, this is the stage of eggs. Insects lays numerous eggs together, and these eggs develop into the next stage, that is the stage of larva. During larva stage, the body of insect is like a worm. And at this time, the insect eat a lot. It eat voraciously, means it just keep on feeding on the leaves of the plant in which it is staying, and it eats a lot to develop into the next stage, that is the stage of pupa. There is a change in the stage of pupa. After the stage of larva, the body becomes little thick and short. So the body becomes little thick and short. This is the leaf on which the body is staying of a large pupa. Now the pupa stage is that stage where a molting process, I am going to write this term here, molting. Molting is the process of shedding of skin. Shedding means removal. Shedding of skin. So this process is common at the stage of pupa, where by numerous molting, since the body is undergoing different changes, so it cannot stay into the same skin throughout the stage. So it undergoes the process of removal of skin or the shedding of the skin. That process is called molting. And after the pupa comes the adult stage. That is the last stage, where the body has completely transformed. The insect becomes completely different in the adult stage. For example, since I am talking about a butterfly, here I am going to show you how the adult is completely different from the pupa or the larva stage. Here the head is there, then the body is having a thorax, and then comes the abdomen. The butterfly is then having the wings, antennas, compound eyes. So this is how the adult insect looks like. And once the adult is formed, then it is again laying the eggs, and the process keeps on going. Here you can see that how the different stages are completely different from each other. The eggs are different from larva, the larva is different from pupa, the pupa is different from adult. So here it is drastic, means it is completely unfamiliar, unpredictable changes that is an insect going through in different stages of the life cycle. So that's why this process is called metamorphosis. So this is the life cycle of insect, and it has 4 stages in its life cycle. I would like you to draw this diagram into your notebooks, and please definitely emphasize on these stages. So we have first stage as eggs, second larva, third pupa, and the last one is adult. So this is a metamorphosis process in the insect. Now this process is different in different insects, means the stages are different, but how the larva will look, how the pupa will look is different. For example, in case of mosquitoes, the pupa becomes into like a structure of comma, where the head and thorax have completely merged. So it will be little different. So now we'll discuss about how the metamorphosis process take place in the case of frog. So now we are going to discuss about the metamorphosis process in frogs. If you remember, frog shows external fertilization, and it is a oviparous animal. So if it is showing external fertilization, so the first stage is the stage of eggs, where the eggs are already fused with sperm and zygote is formed. So the first stage is of egg. Now from here, the body starts developing. Here comes the early tadpole. So after the egg stage comes the early tadpole stage. Here you can see the body is not completely developed. After the early tadpole comes the late tadpole. Here the body has developed a little bit, but there is a formation of tail, the limbs, it looks like a reptile, but only in this stage. Once it moves to the adult stage, As it develops into the adult, the tail vanishes and it becomes a fully developed adult. So here, don't mind my diagrams. It's developed into a adult. So it now develops into adult. Here the tails is vanished and it develops into a completely developed adult frog, and from where it again lays the egg, and then the process keeps on going. So here also we have 4 stages: eggs, the early tadpole, the late tadpole, and the adult. Here you can see that how the changes has occurred in the case of development of a frog. Earlier it looked like somewhat like a fish, then like a reptile, and then the frog is developed. So again, I'm emphasizing on the definition that metamorphosis process is that process through which the body undergoes very unpredictable, unfamiliar, drastic changes to become an adult. So we have seen in these 2 examples, that is the example of an insect and an example of a frog, that how these 2 animals undergoes the changes where one stage is completely different from the other stage. So therefore the development of the body in these 2 examples or in this phenomena is completely different from the development we have seen in our body, which is quite familiar, which is quite predictable. So this is all about metamorphosis process. While in case of frogs, how this process is initiated, you will study about in your next chapter about the hormones and what is their function. If you remember, in sexual reproduction in humans, we studied about the human reproductive system, and in both male and female reproductive system we discussed about some hormones, that was estrogen and testosterone, which helps to develop the secondary sexual characters in human beings. Now similarly in animals, like in case of frog, here the metamorphosis process is only possible due to the thyroxine. This hormone enables the process of metamorphosis in frog. If the hormones are not secreted, not released, then metamorphosis process will not be seen in the case of frog. And for this hormone, what is needed? Iodine. If you remember, you are always told to eat iodine in your salt because it helps to secrete thyroxine hormone, which helps the physical and mental growth of our body. So similarly in case of frog, iodine helps to release thyroxine, which initiate the process of metamorphosis. Now what happens if a frog is developing into a water body which is not having iodine? Then there will be no metamorphosis. So for the process of metamorphosis in frogs, thyroxine is needed, and for thyroxine iodine is needed, so that it undergoes the different stages of the life cycle for its development to become an adult. So this is all about the metamorphosis process in